And then the next building block is emotion. So we spoke earlier about that, being able to face and be in that space where, or the fear that we could have for raw emotions.
Yeah, so one of the blocks is being scared of the emotions that come up during relating.
Yeah. So emotions, if we know and understand that they are just signals, because I have this frame and based on what's happened on the world outside of me, my perception creates an emotion within my body. And an emotion is just energy in motion in my body. So yeah, we enjoy the nice emotions. We enjoy the happiness and the joy and the laughter and the fun. But when it comes to those uncomfortable, not so nice ones in the body, then we tend to kind of shy away from them. But if I'm accepting, if I've got self-esteem, unconditional self-esteem, accepting, and the responsibility, my way of communicating when I feel those emotions will be completely different to when I don't.
And also this building block around emotions as signals is understanding that when you're feeling something that's uncomfortable, that uncomfortable feeling, it's uncomfortable because it's trying to tell you something. It's sometimes telling you that a boundary has been crossed.
Yes.
So when you're feeling anger at someone, it's like, well, what am I angry about? I'm angry about this person stepping over the line or using me or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And with, as we said, the other building blocks, you're able to then say
communicate
something and
them.
communicate it. So part of also when we develop this emotional mastery, as I call it, we have an EQ, emotional intelligence. When we're able to manage our own emotions and be with other people's emotions, then we no longer have that fear of the intense emotions. We can actually enjoy the intensity, especially of the wonderful emotions, and we have a way to manage and deal with the intensity of the not so wonderful emotions that come up. So all of this then develops our strongest relationship with ourselves. These are like the building blocks that, everyone talks about. You've got to love yourself before you can love someone else.
Mm-hmm.
This is how. A lot of people come and ask me, I don't understand the concept of loving myself. How do I do it?
Mm-hmm.
I know I need to love myself, but how do I do it? And these are some of the building blocks: self-esteem, responsibility for emotions, accepting of self and others. And then we can add that to appreciate ourselves.
Yeah.
And even hold ourselves in awe and love ourselves. So developing that relation with ourselves, when we can be with our own company, enjoy our own company, and not crave someone else's company, that's when we're really ready to be with someone else in a totally new and healthy ways.
Yeah. So in essence, it's like being comfortable in your own skin?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So these building blocks lead us to other blocks, other building blocks, sorry, that kind of will develop and allow us to have once these initial ones are in place. So
so these are like the foundational ones.
The ones that we've just spoken about.
The foundation, now we can go to the next level of building blocks.
Yes. And the first one is that it allows to be open. So rather than being closed because of our past hurts, to be open, to just being able to experience the person in front of me. So the image I get in my mind about this is like, instead of a door being closed, the door is open, and I allow somebody else to step into my space, and in the same way I step into theirs.
Because the door's open, so you can move.
The door's open, so I can go there. But it means I'm not going to be so quick to judge them, as we've said before. And I'll start looking most probably for new ways to meet people. Instead of sitting and thinking, I have no idea, it's saying, well, I can now, because I'm not a 7 necessarily, and even if I'm a 7 and I perceive that person as a 9, I can still go up to them and speak to them. Hopefully you wouldn't have that evaluation, but I will be able to go up and at least just say hi, and it doesn't really matter where that conversation goes, because I'm just open to experiencing that.
So a lot of the blocks that we have, we spoke the fear that we have around relationships, the stories we tell ourselves and start being the identities that we may have developed, all of those things lead us to being closed. So when we put the building blocks in place, especially those foundational ones, it then leads us to being more open. And when we're more open, we're more likely to meet people and attract.
Yeah. And chances are we'll be able to engage in conversation, have discussions, be able to ask questions. We'll have more of an exploring mindset around, so what is this other person really about, instead of judging, blaming, being closed. Yeah.
So part of that is about exploring. So when we open, when we explore, we can be curious.
Yeah.
We can then engage, and one way to see relationships is to see relationships as an exploration. I see relationships, I keep in mind, so I see dating
as an exploration. Yeah.
Exploration.
Yeah.
Obviously relating is still exploring. I don't think we ever really get to know someone, so we're always exploring, getting to know the person. But yeah, so having building blocks in place, being more open, allows us to be more curious and more exploring, so that we can just be with a person and just get to know them, and we don't have to have all those preconceived agendas and things running, and expectations, and is this the one, and now we're going to go out and date. It's just like get to enjoy and express ourselves in that moment, and if it leads to something else, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we're more willing and more able to engage with people when we have these building blocks in place.
Yeah.
We are able to give and receive and to communicate, because we've got the responsibility to inform place. We can manage our emotions. We have the self-esteem and worth, and from that place is unconditional, so we can just express ourselves.
Yeah.
And just get to engage. So be open, explore, engage.
Yeah.
And all of that, I think, helps us get into a place to meet people. Is there anything else you want to add about the building blocks? Because we've got some questions that have come in.
Okay.
So I just want to know, before we move on to answering them.
No, I'm thinking, but I can't really think of something right now.
As soon as we got a question from one of the listeners is, he says, most ladies I talk to say that they do not like being approached. So what if your potential love walks past you in a mall? So my question would be,
So women say that they do not
like
being approached.
So for me, if a woman that does not like being approached, is that really a woman you want to be in a relationship with? Because for me, that woman, if you don't like being approached, you probably are closed, as we were talking about. You have one of those blocks. There's a fear, there's a frame of mind, there's a story you're telling yourself that leads it to be closed. And if someone approaches me, it's
dangerous,
okay.
Or it's...
Yeah, and it may come from past hurts, past experiences, that someone did approach you and it was dangerous. So we're not saying is that. It's about... So one is women that don't want to be approached are not ready for a relationship. And if you are ready for a relationship, then you need to look for the women that are open to be approached.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if your potential love walks past you in a mall, well, maybe it's to start to learn to find that stuff. Are you open enough and comfortable enough and confident, so that in the way you approach that potential love of your life that's walking past you in the mall, that you can approach in a way that it does create a sense of safety, and not a way where she's put on her defensive.
Yeah. I'm also just thinking that if I have this frame, even though I've heard it from other ladies, if I have a frame that I now walk around with that says women don't like being approached, and I own that, I take that on as my frame.
It's one of those stories that we tell ourselves.
So how will I then approach if I know that if my belief is that they don't like it?
Because there's definitely women that don't like being approached, but there are women that like to be approached. And I can tell you, I'm one of those. It's like I wish more guys would approach and talk, because I understand from my side how scary it must be, and it links to another question. You're scared of being rejected.
Yeah.
And so I will always, in the most, gentle way and polite, say no. But yeah, so what I was trying to say, if it is that story that this person may be telling themselves about, the thing with frames of mind is we find evidence to support whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we can literally filter out the evidence that's contradictory to that story we're telling ourselves and we're starting to believe, and it becomes our worldview.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd ask him to maybe he needs to ask more people, more women about it, and he might find that it comes out 50-50. So some people women don't like being approached. Some people do like being approached.
Yeah.
And it may give a more balanced kind of perspective of what's happening out there in the world.
Yeah.